Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dozer, and if you're new to the show, the mission here is to expose the quacks and gimmicks in the marketing industry while featuring some great marketers and entrepreneurs along the way. So in this episode, I'm excited to welcome our guest, Jacob Repp. Jacob is an expert in LinkedIn marketing and all things networking. Jacob, thanks so much for joining the show.
Hey, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here, Ryan.
Yeah, so we go way back probably, 4 or 5 years ago when we first connected, and we've kind of stayed in touch and developed a relationship ever since then. So I've been on a lot of your stuff, the Why Wednesdays, and we'll get into all that here in this episode. But let's do a quick intro on who you are and what you do.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I am a business owner and all of that stuff, but I love Des Moines. And so the reality is that I'm just a Des Moines enthusiast, an ultimate hype man. You talked about Why Wednesday, you talked about some of the other marketing things that I do that are intentionally designed to highlight other people and the things going on so I'm in Des Moines, so in our city, so that people can know, people can get involved, and I just want to create a conduit for that. So Ultimate Hype Man is how I introduce myself, and then through all of that stuff, Jacob from LinkedIn is kind of the name that I've gotten as now we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. But yeah, no, I'm just me, Ultimate Hype Man.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn marketing, I guess. What made you decide to go all in on LinkedIn as your number one platform and stay consistent?
Yeah, well, for a couple of things. One, everybody was on all the other platforms. And so when we talk about market saturation, nobody was doing it. So it was really easy to stand out. It was really easy to start to get engagement. It was really easy to start to go, oh, this is different compared to what other people were doing. So some of it started there. And two, it just honestly, it kind of happened on accident. I had to have a LinkedIn. I had to start doing this. If you're in college, they force you to do it. If you're in the business world, you go, I have to have this, I guess. And for sure, if you're looking for a job, you have to have a LinkedIn. And the evolution of LinkedIn over the last 20 years is just kind of crazy. So some of it was I kind of fell into, and it's trial and error. You try a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of it doesn't work, you tweak it, and then all of a sudden you start getting exposure and you start to see stuff. But number two is as I started digging into algorithm and trying things out and doing research on LinkedIn itself, it's not like, at least organically. So I have to always preface things. It
can get expensive very quickly.
It gets expensive, and other platforms can do it cheaper and have a better reach. But organically, the reach on LinkedIn is insane compared to other platforms of just your first degree connection network. Without you have to do anything. So I started to see that. I started seeing some of the engagement. I started playing around with types of content that works, that doesn't. And then obviously, like every social platform in the world, they change their algorithm, and then what worked yesterday no longer works today, and you don't find that out until real time, and then you have to scramble and adjust, but it's fine.
Yeah, like links in the description, link in the comments, link in the post. That's a good example.
Yeah.
What are some tips and tricks that you have? I know just following you and looking at your content approach on LinkedIn, you do Why Wednesdays, you do that Friday feature. Talk about some of your tips and tricks that have helped you grow your LinkedIn reach here in Des Moines.
So one, it's wild, and again, I don't know enough about other platforms, so I always want to stay in my lane. But LinkedIn is weird in the sense that if I engage with your content, then my stuff will start showing up in your feed, which is counterintuitive. You would think if you engage with my stuff, I'll show up in your feed, which is true. It will happen. If the people that you interact with engage with my stuff, then I will show up in your feed because the people that you interact with engage with my stuff. So it's just weird that if I engage with your stuff, I can start showing up. Whether that's good or bad, that's kind of, who knows. But if you're a marketer, that's awesome because I know who my target audience is. I know who I'm trying to reach. I know who I want people to be familiar with me. So I can start to target those people organically, even if we're not actually connected, and start to comment, start to add value to conversations that they're posting about. And so that works really, really well. You mentioned one of them. You don't want links in a post. Like, they get ad revenue from advertisers, and so they want you to stay on the platform. And that's not unique to LinkedIn. That's every social media platform in the world goes, hey, we're charging money for you to see ads. Our advertisers need to see ROI. And so if you're going to intentionally take off site, that's not going to be great. Easy workaround, put the link in the comments, boom, solves it instantly, even though it has the same ultimate impact, but you don't get
Let's
crushed.
talk about consistency. I know we talked about that too, just being consistent with your LinkedIn posting, and also LinkedIn engagement, commenting, liking on posts. What was that statistic that you told me where it's like 5% of people post on LinkedIn every week? Or I guess you could elaborate on that.
Yeah. So it's if you post once a week, you're in the top 3% of all LinkedIn users in the world. Now, a majority of LinkedIn users in the world are also U.S. people, but you're still top 3%. So when people are starting this journey of specifically organic marketing reach, because you're a marketer, Ryan, so there's a time and there's a place and there's a reason for strategic paid marketing. But, and we've talked about this all the time, there are a lot of agencies out there that charge you an arm and a leg, and they don't actually do anything. It's just a cookie cutter, boom, and you wouldn't know because you have no idea. And so there is a place for paid marketing when done right. Also, organic marketing, because that's inherent trust already of your natural consumer base, and they mesh just like any other marketing strategy. You should have mailers, you should have SEO, you should have cold calling. All those things work together as the overarching marketing plan. And too many people go, social's the only place to go, or cold calling is the only place to go. And those are all usually people that were really successful like 20 years ago. Go, nope.
And they also don't want to change. That's what they know.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we've just evolved, and those things still work, but they have to be a part of your overall marketing strategy. And so consistency is easy. And so when people talk to me, they're like, oh my gosh. And I honestly, I post almost pretty much every day. And we get engagement. And the reality is that all people only have 24 hours in a day. You have to sleep. You have business meetings. You might have kids. You might have a spouse. We're wearing different hats that take out time. What's beautiful about social media always, and LinkedIn is like a 24-hour, 365 networking event, if you treat it like that from a prospecting, from a relationship building standpoint. And why we're going right now, like my watch is going off, I'm still getting engagement of posts that I've done all this week, which is awesome, because those are people that are engaging with me, that are seeing me, that are, again, expanding the reach of that post already, and which is awesome. And so people are like, well, I can't do that. Like, how do we create content? How do we create engagement? I go, you don't have to. Honestly, if you're marketing on other platforms, you might have to tweak it a little bit, but you already have stuff. So that's one. But two, you don't have to get overwhelmed. Commit to doing one post a week. And then maybe a month later, you're up to two. And maybe it's 6 months later, you're now to three. And then maybe it's a year later, and now you're starting to get into this consistent, like, hey, on Mondays we do this. On Wednesdays we do this. On Fridays we do this. And then you just start to create that. And then your following gets used to knowing, hey, guess what? I know that a new podcast is going to launch now, or I know that every other Wednesday, which is my Why Wednesday now, every other Wednesday, hey, we're gonna launch this, or hey, every Friday the shout out list of the people that you need to know that are in Des Moines is going to happen. So people are constantly, like, they're aware, they know it's going to happen, and and honestly, it builds a little bit of excitement. And if you ever miss, I hear about it. And Why Wednesday is a perfect example. I took a break for maybe a year and a half, and there's this guy, Ryan, way up in Michigan, and every year on my birthday, he'd be like, "Happy birthday, bring back Why Wednesday." Just boom, boom, boom. And so if you look, when I launched in November, I think is when it was, he was in that post going, "Hey Ryan, thanks for keeping me honest," and then he loved it. So just be consistent, create things. Your audience will build, and ultimately are creating fans.
It's amazing. You never know who's engaging or watching with your content, and that's what I've learned with this podcast. Is I've had like CEOs and people that I'd never even thought of reach out to me and want to be on the show because they heard so and so get shared on LinkedIn, or they saw it in a Spotify recommendation or whatever. And it's like, you never know, bro. You never know. So if you just be consistent, it's going to lead to opportunities for sure, 100%. So let's talk about 2024. I mean, we're in 2024 now. Do you think LinkedIn will still be a viable platform for growing a personal brand?
The answer is yes. You have to know where your audience is, but it's wild. I probably could look this up now. I don't remember what it is, but LinkedIn's data was something like 65% or something like that of all LinkedIn users are decision makers. And so if you're in a business development or a business-to-business sales role, you better believe you should be on LinkedIn because the people that you need to actually directly talk to are on LinkedIn. And what is unique about LinkedIn versus some of the other social platforms, and for sure if you try to go into business or call or email, is the thing called a gatekeeper. And every business development or salesperson hates that because it takes a lot of work to get past the gatekeeper. Well, if you're creating content, if if people are starting to get to know you and get what your business is about, how you can solve problems, and I just happen to be in a very regulated industry, so I'm limited to some of my business things that I can post about. And so that's why I double down on personal brand, me, the things I care about in the city. And so I just went in an entirely different direction to say, hey, here's who I am. So I want people to know me, trust me, to know that if we're ever getting coffee or cocktails or something, that I'm not showing up with a pad folio or a sales presentation, because I want to know you. And everybody has been hit up on LinkedIn by a salesperson to go, hey, let's get to know each other. And then you show up and, there's the agenda.
Life, bro.
The agenda is just to sell me something. I was like, well, honestly, you probably should have led with that. And I might have even still taken the meeting, but now I'm angry because
story of my life, bro. Story of my life.
It's like, all right, yeah, just the idea of leading with inauthenticity. Like, well, sure, if you're not going to be honest about why we're meeting, like, I can't trust you with the important things. Is my personal opinion. But yeah, the people are on here, and so you have the opportunity to engage with people, to engage with their content, to get to know them. Like I have my wax seals, and now I have the stamp with my face on it, Jacob from LinkedIn, which is funny. But like I'm scouring through companies earn awards, people are changing jobs, people are getting promoted, and I'm throwing in the mail, old school USPS.
People respect that personal touch.
Well, we've gotten so lazy in email marketing, which still works. I don't want to say it doesn't. I'm just saying the reason that email was really, really effective when email first came out was everybody mailed stuff. And so now you're like, oh, shoot, here's 30,000 pieces of mail, and I have 3 emails that are not like normal things you're expecting. And you're like, oh, all right, well, now I'll read all 3 of these emails. Now you get added to an email list, somebody finds your email on something. Like by the time I leave the gym in the morning, from when I go to sleep to when I leave the gym in the morning, I probably have 80, 90 emails, and almost none of them are important. I'm just some random or got added to an email list, and I just don't unsubscribe because I'm big into cybersecurity, and if I was a hacker, I would only target people that get a lot of that, and I would put malware into an unsubscribe link. So I think like that, and so actual criminals would too, and my cybersecurity friends have affirmed that. And I go, oh, all right, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't.
That's a very shady black hat thing. I've definitely heard of that.
Yeah. So I just block emails, honestly, because I won't unsubscribe. And it's like, oh, everyone thinks that I need to do the work to unsubscribe for the thing that I didn't sign up for. I hate that. I hate that.
Sure. Let's talk about, Jacob, I want to talk about one thing I respect about what you do on LinkedIn that I think you take it to the next level. You mentioned those postcards too, but the importance of meeting your LinkedIn connections in real life. Talk about why you prioritize that.
Yeah, and this is just like networking 101. Well, this might come as a surprise to you, is I'm a young white man. And so the way I see the world is through my life experiences. And I live in Iowa. So I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of people that look like me and have very similar small town Iowa experiences. And so the wild thing to me, and this is why I think that young people in general should double down on trying to be at tables, and why CEOs of companies should invite them and have them there, is target audiences. While the target audience is the same, the demographic as they're getting older are changing. And so the way that if you're targeting 50-year-olds today, and your demographic's always going to be 50-year-olds, well, you need to be talking to the 20 and early 30-year-olds right now of going, hey, how do we create a marketing thing around you guys when you're our target market? And because it's not going to be the same as what it is today. And so you need that input and that voice. And so I'm just fascinated by meeting people. Like I took this from Danny Beyer, who took it from Suku Radia. But anyone that asks to get together, I will. I say yes. The first one's free. You have to earn the second.
Yeah, that's a very respectable approach.
Yeah, and that's my philosophy. Because here, if I'm a gambler, and I love to play blackjack. Everyone knows this. I am a gambler. And I go, all right, so my upside potential is literally unlimited. Because I have no idea where a relationship will go. I have no idea who you know. I have no idea the people in your network that are in life changes and things that might actually need help by something I could do. I have no idea. So literally unlimited. My downside, because I'm a pros and cons guy,
time.
And my worst case scenario is I lose somewhere between 30 and 90 minutes of my life that I'll never have back. The only finite thing that I have is time. And I go, okay, so that is important, but the upside potential way outweighs worst case scenario. And so
you can always do your research too to pre-qualify people too.
Well, yes, that is true. And I probably should do some better than that. But I want to meet my LinkedIn connections because I want my connection with you to be an endorsement of you. And it happens all the time. I don't know, 15, 20 times a month, people will reach out and go, hey, I see you're connected with so-and-so. We're thinking about using them, or we're thinking about going with their company. What do you know about them? And if I can't say that I've met you, that I've talked with you, and we just go, you're a LinkedIn connection, I go, I have no idea.
Right.
I want to be able, yeah. So my rule is I give you 3 years to be connected, and if we've never had a conversation, then I'll unconnect with you.
Yep.
And that's just.
I love.
And
that.
I use birthdays. I use birthdays since LinkedIn tells you birthdays, and so I'll go, oh, we've been connected for 4 years. You've never responded to a single message I've sent. So you're either not active on LinkedIn or you don't care. And if I haven't met you and you live in Des Moines, that means we don't run in the same circles. And since I'm very active in the philanthropy world here, you don't care about the same things I do. And so I go, then there's no reason for us to be connected.
Yep. See ya. All right, Repp, let's transition to AI a little bit. I always have to talk about AI on every episode. Have you leveraged AI? Have you leveraged AI at all in your LinkedIn content workflows or just anything that you're doing?
I have not yet. I am still like a newbie in understanding of most things AI. I'm not afraid of it, that's the one end of the spectrum. It is going to be the world's, or and it's going to run not like iRobot, just for the record, type of stuff, but is going to shape processes. But it's the same reason that I say meet people on your connections on LinkedIn, because there is a couple things that AI is going to do. Is the world has been just the automation that's already existed before, like some of the ChatGPT and some of the other capabilities of AI, and as it advances, people, you need to know it, because what's going to set you apart in a hiring process are going to be people that actually understand how to use and implement AI into your job. So that's number one. But number two, the reason you need to be meeting people that are different than you, that look different than you, is your conversations you have with people, like the soft skills of being able to actually communicate with people, are like dead. Like, people they're always on their phone, they're always on this, and it's like, how do I relate to people? And the soft skills and your ability to use AI are going to be the two biggest skills that are going to separate you from somebody else going forward in the future. So I would tell everyone, learn as much as you can how to use AI now. Play around with it. There's plenty of apps, there's plenty of things that you can use
free.
That are free. And then as you need more stuff, then there's some paid stuff, and that's just professional development, skill development. And then the other one is go and just talk with people, meet people, have conversations, work on those soft skills of being able to relate with people, or the book of how to talk to anybody type of thing. Cool, you're gonna have to lead people, you're gonna have to follow people, you might be a leader of an organization, you're gonna have to lead an organization. And if you don't have that ability and you don't have AI, you're not going to have you just won't be able, there's no place in the world for you in terms of high paying and high level jobs. It just won't exist.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So let's talk about Quacks now, Jacob. This is the Marketing Quacks podcast after all. Define a marketing quack, I guess, in your industry, on LinkedIn, whatever you want to talk about. What are some tricks and gimmicks that you've seen people do?
We're talking
Let's
about
stick to LinkedIn. Let's talk about LinkedIn. Yeah,
we're talking about positive things here, right?
Positive and negative. So it could be cold DMs, it could be clickbait content, things of that
nature.
nature.
So I hate the cold DMs, which is just kind of funny, because if you talk to any salesperson, none of them love them either. Kind of like the same people that the salespeople are the worst at, like ghosting other salespeople, and somehow they justify that this is different. What I'm doing is different than the things that I complain with my other salespeople because people ghost me or slide in my DMs. Like, whatever. You need to make money, you need to do stuff. But are there better ways? I think so. Especially some of that automation, man. You get your names wrong, or you get your company wrong. You right out of the gate, you've already shot yourself in the foot. So work on some of those bad automations, or if it's just a copy paste thing, make sure the info's right.
That's what we talked about too. Is I remember you sent me screenshots of look at this guy, he got my name wrong. This is a complete copy and paste automation. So from what you're telling me, that's probably your biggest quack, are these people that just copy and paste cold DM templates and then misspell your name or misspell your company.
But I would, from a negative standpoint and positive. So we talked about paid marketing on LinkedIn. So my experience with agencies is that agencies are really good at, maybe it's SEO, SEM, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And then as like a passing, they're like, oh yeah, and we'll do LinkedIn for you. But they don't know anything about LinkedIn. They don't know they do the same thing as they do for Facebook, for LinkedIn. It's just a different market. And so I see tons of people pay agencies specifically marketing on LinkedIn, which is the most expensive place to market on the platform, or a platform to market on. That's okay. The reason I say that that's a bad quack is you have to have a strategy. Because what's also wild is that LinkedIn retargeting is actually one of the cheapest. So if you get really, really good at finding the people through the initial the initial targeting that you spend a lot for, and you use retargeting from that data, and you zero in on those people, it is actually one of the cheapest. Now you have to go for a couple rounds of paid marketing, but the initial one, like if you have no plan and all you're trying to do is that initial thing, you're just lighting money on fire. So you have to have people, you have to have agencies, you have to have people that understand how retargeting works with your LinkedIn strategy. And if you don't, you should run and you should fire them. You should go and talk to you guys. You should go talk to and how to use that, because retargeting is the best way, because these are people that are already going to your site, already doing this stuff.
They're already in your funnel.
Yeah, you're in your. They're telling you, "Hey, I'm your guy. It's me. Get a hold of me. Keep on advertising to me, and then we'll pull the trigger." But most people, the biggest quack I see is people that only do that first stage, kind of like they do just on maybe an Instagram or like a branding funnel type of stuff that is just, hey, boom. And that's the quickest way to light money on fire and have no benefit whatsoever to your business, and you sort of fire that agency yesterday.
Yep, LinkedIn ads, and I would also say Google ads broad match are probably two of the biggest ways to light money on fire for sure. So any final notes, Jacob? It's been good having you on the show here. What are some final notes you have for listeners on LinkedIn marketing, networking, or anything we talked about?
I don't engage. Just engage with your audience. If it's and this is platform agnostic, you should engage with your audience. So actually respond. So if you ever talk to me, like I still write all my comments. I respond to all my messages. I do all of that, and I don't automate stuff, which would make things easier. But I want to be a part of that process. That's really important to me, and how I value even my time is I want to have hands-on. This is my voice. This is this, and so engage in people's comments. But from a LinkedIn marketing, make sure you're building your audience around your target audience. And if you're not doing that, then you're going to have if you're targeting this industry or people that do business with this industry, that should be who you're trying to connect with. Because if you're over here and you're connected with only people that are complete opposite, they're not going to find your content real valuable. They're not going to they're not going to engage. And then if you start doing paid advertising on those people, it's again just lighting money on fire. So be strategic on how you build a social network, especially on LinkedIn. Who are the people that are connected to the people you're trying to do? Because again, we said if you engage with their stuff, you show up in their feed. People that they're connected with, that they engage with, you'll show up in their feed if those people engage with your stuff. And then people that are in that same stage. So engage with those people.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. So where can people find you online besides Jacob Repp on LinkedIn? Do you have any other platforms?
What am I? Repp Des Moines on Instagram. And that's about it. I guess I am on LinkedIn. I guess I'm on Facebook.
Jacob Repp on LinkedIn. That's the big one.
Jacob Repp on LinkedIn. You'll find me. Bow tie, glasses.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll leave listeners with that. Well, thanks again for hopping on the show, Jacob. And thanks again for everyone listening to this episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. Be sure to tune in to the next episode.